Magandang umaga, Pilipinas. Ito po ang pagsisiyasat ang PDAF skandalo, ang special coverage ng Telebisyon ng Bayan sa Senate Blue Ribbon hearings patungkol sa anomalya sa Priority Development Assistance Fund. Ako po si Cathy San Gabriel.
At ako naman po si Attorney Marcos Rodes. We're live from the Senate at ngayong araw nga po ay dadalo si Ginang Ruby Tuazon. Kasama din po ang ibang whistleblowers at ibibigay namin sa inyo buong buo ang mga kaganapan sa umagang ito.
Marco, matatandaan natin, huling punta natin dito sa Senado ay noong nakaraang taon. It was November 7 kung saan nagbigay ng kanyang testimonya ang tinuturing na utak behind the pork barrel scam na si Janet Lim Napoles.
That's right. At itong pagdinig na ito ay consistent with yung goal pa rin ni Senator T.G. Ginggona dito sa Blue Ribbon Committee na iwalat sa taong bayan kung sino talaga, ano ang problemang ito, sino may kagagawan nito at paano natin ito maiiwasan in the coming years. So ibig sabihin, hindi lamang yung mismong krimen ang tinitingnan, kundi yung buong konteksto, yung buong milieu nitong problemang ito para mapaganda yung ating sistema.
Alas 9 po nakatakdang mag-umpisa ang panibagong hearing na naman at dadalo nga ngayong araw si Ruby Tuazon ng isa sa sinasabing magsasara at bubuo sa kwento kung paano nga isinagawa itong malakihang scam na ito. Pero kasama natin ngayon sa ating studio dito sa Senado para bigyan tayo ng kaalaman tungkol sa mga magaganap at maintindihan natin yung magiging proseso ng hearing ngayon. Kasama natin Attorney J.J. Atienza.
Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat.
At si Attorney Cynthia, siyempre ang ating suking legal litigator, legal expert din.
Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat.
Ang konteksto nito, Cathy, doon sa itong merong Blue Ribbon Committee at meron ding kaso. Hingan muna natin ng update doon sa takbo noong kaso.
Oo, kasi di ba matatandaan natin, DOJ ay nagsumiti na ng napakaraming datos sa Ombudsman. Pero bago yan ay tumungo muna tayo sa recap kung ano na nga ba ang aasahan natin ngayong araw.
Nadawit ang pangalan ng ilang senador at marami pang mambabatas nang pumutok ang iskandalo sa Multibilyong Priority Development Assistance Fund o PDAF o mas kilala bilang Pork Barrel Fund Scam na di umano'y pinamunuan ng isang pribadong individual sa katauhan ng negosyanteng si Janet Lim Napoles na sinasabing naging tulay sa pagkamkam ng 10 bilyong piso sa kaban ng bayan. Ika-29 ng Agosto taong 2013, sinimula ng Senado ang pagdinig sa anomalya sa Priority Development Assistance Fund o PDAF, kung saan lumabas sa report ng Commission on Audit na 4 sa mga senador ang naglagak ng kanilang PDAF sa umano'y mga peking non-government organizations o NGOs na pagmamayari ni Ginang Napoles. Paliwanag ng COA, nagsisimula ang proseso ng paglalaan ng pondo sa NGO sa pamamagitan ng request ng mga mambabatas sa Department of Budget and Management na ibinibigay naman ng DBM sa implementing na bahalang magbigay ng pondo sa NGOs. Ipinakita ni COA Chair Grace Pulido Tan ang mga endorsement letters na mula di umano kina Minority Leader Juan Ponce Enrile, Senador Ramon Revilla Jr., Senador Gringo Honasan at Senador Jinggoy Estrada. Binanggit din ng COA ang umano'y mga peking 82 NGOs, kung saan 8 dito ay iniuugnay sa tinaguriang utak ng 10 billion peso pork barrel scam na si Napoles. 7 naman dito ang di umano'y pinaglagakan ng pondo ni na Senador Enrile, Estrada, Honasan at Revilla. Ika-4 ng Setyembre taong 2013, ipinatawag ng Senate Blue Ribbon Committee ang mga dating opisyal ng mga sangkot na ahensya ng Department of Agriculture na sina dating National Agribusiness Corporation o NABCOR President Alan Javeliana at dating Zinac Rubber Estate Corporation o ZREC Head Salvador Salacup. Batay sa testimonya ng mga ito, mismong si Senador Revilla di umano ang pumipirma sa mga transaksyon nito, habang staff o kinatawa naman ang lumalagda para kina Senador Enrile at Senador Estrada. Ika-12 na Setyembre naman humarap sa unang pagkakataon ng principal whistleblower at Napoles na si Ben Hurlui. Pero hindi nito pinangalanan ng ibang mga dawit na mambabatas sa hiling ni Justice Secretary Leila De Lima sa Senate Blue Ribbon Committee dahil hindi pa noon naihain ang unang batch ng kaso sa Office of the Ombudsman laban sa mga umunoy may kinalaman sa pork scam. Isiniwalat naman ni Lui ang kanilang transaksyon sa iba't ibang ahensya ng gobyerno at mga foundations na nasangkot din sa fertilizer fund scam at inilahad ang umano'y hatian ng kickback sa PDAF ng mga mambabatas sa pagitan ni Napoles at ilang staff. Ipinasupina naman ni Senate Blue Ribbon Committee Chair Teofisto Ginggona III maging si De Lima dahil sa tila pagsuway nito sa utos ng Senado na iharap ang iba pang mga whistleblowers sa sanay ika-4 na pagdinig ng Senado sa pork barrel scam noong September 24. At ika-26 nga ng Setyembre nang humarap ang 5 pang whistleblowers na sina Marina Sula, Merlina Sunyas, Gertrudas Lui, Arlene Baltazar at Simonette Briones. Isinalaysay ng mga ito ang paggamit nila ng pangalan ng ibang tao sa pagbuo ng mga peking NGOs at foundations na pag-aari ni Napoles. At matapos nga ang mahigit 1 buwan at tangkang iba ng kampo ni Napoles ng pagdinig, ika-7 ng Nobyembre nang nagharap-harap ang mga whistleblowers at si Napoles. Tumayo bilang abogado nito si Public Attorney's Office o PAO lawyer Howard Areza dahil ilang araw bago humarap si Napoles ay nagbitiw ang legal counsel nito na si Attorney Lorna Capunan. Subalit sa halip na magsalita ay nanatiling tikom ang bibig ni Napoles sa isyong iniuugnay sa kanya at mariing itinanggi ang mga paratang laban sa kanya at ang umano'y koneksyon niya sa ilang mga mambabatas kabilang na si Congressman Edgar Valdez. Inamin naman ni Napoles sa pagmamayari niya ang JLN Corporation at ang Magdalena Louis Lim Outreach Foundation. Si Napoles ay nahaharap sa patong-patong na kaso, kabilang na ang tax evasion, kasong illegal detention at plunder o pandarambong. 30 araw matapos ang bagong taon. January 30, 2014. Binusisi naman ng Senate Blue Ribbon Committee ang panuntunan ng mga ahensya ng gobyerno sa pagbibigay ng pondo sa NGOs. Sinuri sa pagdinig ang sistema ng accreditation ng mga NGOs. Mahigit 20,000 NGOs ang nakarehistro sa Security Exchange Commission, ngunit natuklasan na 8 lang ng SEC, kaya hindi malabong nakalusot ang mga bogus na NGOs ni Napoles. Nanawagan naman ang SEC sa pagsasaayos at modernisasyon ng accreditation. Umapela naman si COA Chair Tan sa mga ahensya na alamin muna ang tamang proseso sa pagbibigay ng pondo sa mga NGOs. Tinalakay rin sa pagdinig ang accreditation sa mga kooperatiba na kadalasang nagagamit sa iligal na gawain tulad ng rice smuggling. Iminungkahi naman ng GCG ang pagbuwag sa NABCOR, ZIREC at iba pang sub-agencies na nasangkot sa kontrobersya. Para sa Telebisyon ng Bayan, Bianca Piedad.
Nakita po natin ang wrap-up ng ni Bianca doon sa mga naganap nga sa hearings, ang naging testimonya ng mga whistleblowers at ni Janet Lim Napoles.
Ang mga kasong ito ay naka-file pa lamang sa Ombudsman. Pakipaliwanag ng Attorney Cynthia kung nasaan na tayo sa buong proseso ng pagfa-file ng kaso o pagra-run after sa isang taong kinasuhan ng plunder. Nasaan na tayo?
Alam nating lahat na ang reklamo ay naisampa na ng DOJ through Secretary De Lima to the Ombudsman. But the Ombudsman level, hindi pa ito naaakyat sa Sandigan Bayan, which is the court. Kasi, as we have gathered from the news, they are still in the fact-finding phase, no? Which is why, kahit pumasok yung any other witnesses, hindi pa ito na isasampa sa korte talaga. So, nandun pa rin sa pangangalap kung whether or not talagang isasampa sa korte, which is the Sandigan Bayan.
At ngayon nga, nakatakdang tumistigo itong si Ruby Tuason. Attorney JJ, can you give us a backgrounder? Sino si Ruby Tuason at ano yung kinalaman niya dito sa anomalya sa PDAF?
Naging mapalad tayo, Cathy, no, na kahit paano nasulyapan natin yung kanyang complaint affidavit. Si Ruby Tuason po ay sinasabi nga sa lahat ng newspaper accounts na siya isang socialite at dati ring naging malapit sa pamilya Estrada talaga. Naging social secretary siya ni President Erap Estrada nung siya ay nanunungkulan pa sa Malacanang. Ano? At matapos nga nito, inilahad niya doon sa kanyang affidavit na nakilala tong si Janet Lim Napoles ay noong 2002 sa burol ni Rudy Fernandez, ay nilapitan siya ni Janet Lim Napoles at sinabi nga sa kanya na nais daw niya na i-bridge siya at ipakilala sa mga estrada at kay Juan Ponce Enrile, kay Senador Juan Ponce Enrile nga daw. At habang tinanong niya kung bakit, ano at para saan, dahil nasa burol nga naman sila, at pinaliwanag daw sa kanya ni Janet Lim Napoles na may mga proyekto siyang gustong ilapit dito sa mga senador na ito at kung ano man daw yung proyektong makukumpleto nila ay mabibigyan siya ng komisyon. Kung kaya't mula yata noong 2002 o 2004 ay naging bridge siya sa dalawang senador daw na ito patungo rin naman kay Janet Lim Napoles.
Kasi napapanood natin sa ating screen si Senator TG Ginggona, naghahanda na po yan po sa session hall ng Senado. Naging exciting, Cathy, itong mga nakaraan dahil sa testimonya ni Ben Hurluy. Tapos dumating nga mismo si Janet Lim Napoles. But we didn't hear anything that we were not reading in the papers beforehand. Pero itong sa kaso ni Ruby Tuason, mukhang fresh na fresh pa at hindi pa lantad lahat, ano?
Oo, kasi kakabigay, hindi pa actually nalalantad yung buong affidavit niya until recently and marami pa rin yung hindi nakakakita. Pero Attorney Cynthia, compared dun sa testimonya ng mga whistleblowers, gaano kahalaga rin itong testimonya na ibibigay ni Ruby Tuason ngayong araw?
Okay. We look at it from point of view of law. Ito siguro mas maintindihan ng mga tao, bakit hanggang sa puntong ito, hindi pa naisasampay mga kaso sa korte, no? And pag sinabi natin korte, Sandigan Bayan. Doon sa mga ebidensya ng mga whistleblowers, nakita yung transaksyon, pag-uumpisa, pagkuha ng project, etc. Pero ang missing link dito na hinahanap namin mga litigators is meron bang abutan? Meron bang perang talagang lumilipat mula dun sa pondo hanggang dun sa mga sinasampahan ng kaso? In this particular case, si Senator Jinggoy, si Senator Bong Revilla, si Senator Juan Ponce Enrile. Ruby Tuason is critical in the sense she will provide corroborative evidence to the whistleblowers na ang pera from the project given directly to particular persons. So that is the link. Ito yung importante nating malaman because it proves the completed transaction.
Okay. Attorney JJ, nabasa mo yung kanyang affidavit. Nandun may detalye na. Sa tingin nyo ba, base sa yung manner at yung sistema ni Senator TG Ginggona, ano yung magiging best na paraan para mailahad? Kagaya nung ginawa nung kay Ben Hurluy, naging narrative, tapos comparative yung nagsalita si Napoles, nagsalita si Ben Hurluy. Sa puntong ito, na nandyan si Ginang Tuason, nandyan sila Ben Hurluy, sa tingin mo, ano yung magiging sistema ni Senator Ginggona?
Alam mo, pwede kasi niyang gawing narrative, ano? Pero parang lahat naman ito ay nailahad na ni Ruby Tuason doon sa kanyang affidavit. I'm hoping, as what Attorney Cynthia said, no, sa ating mga taong bayan na nanonood, hindi lang para sa mga abogado, I'm hoping na kahit paano, itong affidavit ni Ruby Tuason ay ma-relate doon sa mga testimonya nung mga dating nag-testify. How do you do that? Sa court, usually refer to it. Sinabi ng ganitong witness na nagkaroon daw ng ganitong proyekto. May nalalaman ka ba dito? So, ibebase rin sa kung ano yung nailahad niya sa affidavit at pagbabanggain yung dalawang datos. From there, we can make the whole story complete kahit paano.
Meron gusto idagdag sa
alam mo, ang importante dito, no, para makumpleto yung istorya, pwedeng gawin yon. I-relate sa mga naging testimonya ng mga ibang witnesses. However, for this to be a really credible testimony on the part of Mrs. Tuason, she has to speak on her own experiences. Hindi siya pwede mag-draw dun sa sinabi dito, tapos yun yung ginawa ko. She will, I think what I can surmise that what Senator Ginggona will do and all the other senators will do is draw from her own experiences so that it will not become hearsay. Hindi magiging sabi-sabi. Doon, mako-connect na natin yung jigsaw puzzle na ano ang nangyari sa pera from the start of an allocation up to the time na dapat siyang maging proyekto.
Sa korte, Cathy, pwedeng palabasin sa korte yung iba testigo para hindi nila marinig yung testimonya at yun daw yung paraan para matest talaga yung kredibilidad noong isang witness will those rules apply in this setting, Attorney JJ?
I doubt it highly, Attorney Mark, na magkaroon ng parang chamber
Exclusion,
proceeding
yeah.
o exclusion na tinatawag, no? Kasi highly televised naman lahat na naging testimonies ng previous
Pero hindi ba makaka-apekto yun sa kredibilidad kung sakaling ang parang nag-uusap at
Alam mo,
nag-compare notes?
maraming ways
to
naman to
validate.
find out kung ito ay rehearsed testimony. Because you can always ask or propound questions na alam mo kung paano lalabas yung katotohanan. Tandaan din natin, marami rin ng mga abogado sa loob ng session hall. Mapapalabas at mapapalabas nila kung nagsasabi ng totoo ito o rehearsed testimony lang.
Isa pa, no? Hindi lang naman isang tao magtatanong, hindi lang isang senador. Lahat ng mga senador dito na magtatanong, sigurado meron silang set of questions. So that if a question has already been answered, they will try to make a follow-up question. So there is validation and cross-validation of information na dati nang nasaad. They will have to pick up kung ano yung sasabihin ni Mrs. Tuason, and from there probably move on. We cannot go back to what has just been said. I will presume that they will really pick up from what she has stated in her affidavit and what she can actually say from here.
Attorney Cynthia, marami po sa mga ordinaryong mamamayan tulad ko na hindi abogado, ang marahil nagtataka bakit nasa ilalim ng Witness Protection Program itong si Ginang Tuason, bagamat siya ay naging bahagi at nagkapera rin dito sa mga transaksyon sa PDAF. Ano pong dahilan nito?
Okay, matatandaan natin na nagsampa ng kaso si Secretary De Lima, ang DOJ, marami silang kinasuhan. Kasama siya sa mga nakasuhan na private citizens. Kaya siya nasama doon dahil meron siyang naging partisipasyon. Okay, to be a witness, to become, to fall under the Witness Protection Program, you have to apply, and then the court or the body which will have to assess whether or not they are the most guilty. In this particular case, crucial ang kanyang testimonya, and it appears that she is not the most guilty, which is why she is now under temporary. She is qualified as a temporary member of under the Witness Protection Program.
Linawin nga natin yung Kati dahil sa media laging napagpapalit yung least guilty and not the most guilty, Attorney JJ.
Pag sinabi nating least guilty, no, yung partisipasyon niya ay na-establish mo na talaga doon. Ano? At yung level ng participation niya sa isang krimen, doon mo natitignan kung alin yung mas grabe, yung mas involved at hindi. Pag sinabi mo namang not most guilty, ibig sabihin pare-pareho sila nung kinomit nilang crime o act, no? Pero hindi mo pa rin naman pwedeng sabihin until matapos naman yung kaso na pwede mo sabihin na ikaw ang namumuno o ikaw yung nagpasimuno nito. So, there are different degrees of participation kasi na dapat mo i-consider din.
Malalaman natin, di ba nagsabi na may commission lang siya? So, pag ibig sabihin ng commission, yun ay maliit na parte lamang. Meron pang mas malaking part na naibibigay.
Exactly.
At hindi yun si Mrs. Tuason.
And because baka in-induce din siya So, inducement. Yun yung nangyari.
Attorney JJ, nagsabi rin si Ginang Tuason na willing siyang isaole itong bahagi, 40 million daw, nung kanyang naging komisyon. Pag sinoli ba niya to, ay bababa ang kanyang partisipasyon o yung mga kasong maaaring ihain laban sa kanya?
Hindi ka naman maaabswelto by the fact na isinoli mo ang kinuha mong hindi dapat sa iyo. Dahil yun ang dapat mong gawin. In the first place, hindi mo siya dapat kinuha. So, what am I saying? The act has been done. Tapos na ang lahat.
Pero pag binigyan, Kathy, Attorney Cynthia, Attorney Jay, ng coverage ng Witness Protection Program, technically, hindi siya obliged to return what she took. Correct, Attorney Cynthia?
Yeah, but there will be a process where every ill-gotten wealth will be taken back. So, it may not be in this proceeding, in the future, kukunin din sa kanya. So,
pero
might
hindi
as
sa
well nauna na
konteksto
siya.
nitong kasong ito.
At saka, ang dapat nating tandaan, hindi porke siya ay nakalagay sa Witness Protection Program, hindi siya sasampahan. Kailangan siyang sampahan ng kaso muna. Saka siya tatanggalin.
Hindi, pero
nasampahan siya technically ng DOJ. Nasa ombudsman. So may fact-finding, hindi pa ito na isasampa sa korte. So really, the ball is in the hands of the ombudsman whether or not there is probable cause.
Correct.
To find the case filed or started by the DOJ will stand up in court sa Sandigan Bayan.
Ayun. Itong Kathy, involving some of the biggest names in Philippine society. Yun yung nakakalungkot din.
Maraming pangalan, Mark, ang idinawit dito. Ilang aktor ang nadawit ang pangalan dito. Anong masasabi mo, Attorney JJ, hindi lang bilang isang lawyer, isang ordinaryong mamamayan na even showbiz, even yung mga big society names ay tila nadadamay dito sa malaking anomalya na ito.
It's nakakalungkot, no? Kasi parang iniisip mo na ikaw bilang ordinaryong mamamayan ay kayod ka ng kayod, no? Almost half ng iyong kinita ay syempre ibinibigay mo rin sa BIR, sa gobyerno, dahil alam mo kailangan mo ng kalye, kailangan mo ng tulay, kailangan mo ng serbisyo. At nakakalungkot na itong mga tao who has the power or at least the ability na makaabot sa mga taong gumagawa dapat ng katungkulan sa bayan, ginagamit nila itong pribilehiyong ito para sa pansariling kapakanan. Yung parang sinasay ko, bakit showbiz personalities? Siyempre kasi may mga politiko tayong nananalo na galing sa showbiz. So kakilala ni actress A or ni actor B. And then, ang masaklap, may mga kababayan tayo who would induce this person to introduce them to the one in power for their own gain. So parang ang nakakalungkot is, what if we just don't use that and lahat na lang tayo magtrabaho na maayos, siguro lahat tayo uunlad.
Hindi, alam mo, bakit napasok ka showbiz? Ito yung medyo magandang twist dito.
Hindi lang
there was
po legal sa
already
showbiz pa.
Kasi narinig naman natin, nakita natin that Senator Jinggoy has already come up with a statement that he does not know one of the names mentioned, the actor Matranillo. It just so happened na sa showbiz. So ito yung siguro probably rason bakit. Kasi merong link, showbiz link si Senator Jinggoy, tapos si President Erap is galing din sa kaya parang high society. Bakit? Kasi si Mrs. Tuason ay naging ay member or was married into a very rich family, an old rich family. So ito yung mga dagdag sa kwentong ito.
Attorney Cynthia, nabanggit mo na rin yung naging statement ni Senador Jinggoy Estrada. Meron kasing nakalagay sa affidavit ni Ruby Tuason na nag-abutan sila, personal niyang iniabot mismo sa senador dito sa parking lot ng Senado ang bag-bag na pera. And hinamon siya ni Senador Jinggoy saying na ipakita yung CCTV footage ng Senado kung talagang nagkaroon ng abutan. Kung hihilingin itong video na ito and it would show na wala itong sinabi ni Tuason na naging abutan, will it weaken her testimony?
First of all, I do not believe that evidence will even matter in court. It is up for the prosecution to present this evidence. So, hindi pa siguro sa proseso nito. Maaaring, na-expect ko pa, baka si Senator Jinggoy maglabas nito to try to prove a point. But at this time, labas yun, maaaring makawi ka ng credibility. But I'm sure that is not the only evidence na hawak ng prosecution. Of course, they'll try to make sure na hindi lang yung kanyang bare statement, there will be other corroborating evidence to support her. So, maaaring lumabas itong ebidensya na to dito. Tama naman din, kung ako din ang abogado ni Senator Jinggoy, sasabihin ko, labas mo yung prueba, di ba? Pero hindi yun material dito. Only probably in the eyes of the people, but there is a time. That will come.
Napansin mo, Cathy, na he said, she said, or she said, he said. Oo. Ito na, parating na po sa session hall si Secretary Laila De Lima ng DOJ, Secretary De Lima, si COA Chairperson Grace Pulidatan, at yung si Ombudsman Conchita
here today?
Talagang ito yung mga pillars ng administrasyon na ito para pag-usig na ito. Pero balikan ko lang doon sa he said, she said. Meron kang positive assertion versus a negative assertion. Pakipaliwanag nga mga attorneys kung ano yung bigat ng positive versus negative assertion pagdatimbang nan sa korte.
Sino ba sa atin?
Ikaw.
Sige, susugan mo na lang ako, Attorney Cynthia. Itong positive assertion is yung pag sinabi mong let's say, mayroon o ginawa. That is a positive assertion. And the onus or the evidence is, yung para mabuwag mo itong positive assertion na ito, yun yung sinasabing negative assertion, hindi mo ginawa. So, at first glance, alam natin na he said, she said. So, anong trabaho ng dalawa? Una, kailangan magpakita na, sino ang unang dapat magpakita ng pruweba? Mas maigi sa prosecution kasi sa practice naman, Mark, di ba, naniniguro tayo lagi na pag tayo nag-assert positively, may corroborative evidence tayo kagad. Meron kagad tayong ebidensya. Pero ang usually dapat nangyayari, mas mabigat pa rin yung positive assertion.
Mas mabigat ang
Kasi
positive.
mas mabigat ang positive. Dahil ang trabaho ngayon ng defense is buwagin ito at sila ang dapat magpakita ng ebidensya
na hindi nangyari
totoo
yun.
ito.
So yun yung...
Wala rin naman yatang naniniwala sa denial eh.
Oo.
Kung bare denial lang yan, at wala kang pruweba, for example, in this case, yung CCTV, wala maniniwala sa kanya.
Yun ang problema, Cathy. Kasi halimbawa, sinabi niya, inabot ko sa iyo sa parking lot. Hindi obligasyon ni
Senador Jinggoy.
Hindi obligasyon ni Tuason na ipakita yung CCTV para i-prove na binigay niya. Obligasyon ni nung nagdi-deny na ipakita na hindi ka nag-abot. So ganun kabigat yung dynamics ng positive tsaka negative.
Ito yung mga sa korte. Ito yung mga kailangan nilang i-prove sa korte. But how about yung public opinion?
Yun,
This is very critical kasi po yung nga nakikita ng lahat itong mga nangyayari mula
Ito
umpisa.
sa Blue Ribbon Committee.
Mula umpisa yung mga naging testimonya ng mga witnesses dati. How important is it for the lawmakers naman na ipakita nila na malinis sila and talagang nararapat silang ihalal ng taong bayan?
Okay. I think at this point, they should be doing their job to back up their denials. Okay? Kasi sa mata ng taong bayan, nabubuo yung kwento eh. Merong nag-aakusa. Ang DOJ tinutulungan itong mga whistleblowers. Nag-umpisa na silang mag 1 + 1 + 1. Nabubuo yung equation. Ngayon, lumabas si Mrs. Tuason. So, dapat yung kanilang mga abogado or even yung senators should be on their toes.
Senator
In fact,
Enrile, who has been in politics for the longest time, isa siya sa mga naging major personalities nung impeachment trial. Do you think this affected his the public perception of his image?
You know, hindi natin masabi ng buo Cathy, kasi may mga taong nadismaya sa kanya, pero may mga taong naniniwala pa rin na sa kanyang integridad, And I think kasi yung mama kasi is sa haba ng panahon sa history, nakita natin how he survived all the controversies na nangyari sa kanya. And kasi dahil nabasa ko nga yung affidavit, hindi siya yung nadidiin, bagkus yung kanyang chief of staff. So
Parating
it's interesting.
Attorney Cynthia, Cathy, ayan, dumarating na. Ayan na si Ginoong Ben Horluy. Kani-kanina lamang dumating na yung isa pang witness. Mukhang si Marina Sunyas ba yun? At
May sunyas kasi may sula.
Oo, inaasahan natin. Dadalo silang lahat ngayong umagang ito.
But you know what? Particular case, medyo yata yung timbangan natin medyo dispalinghado ng konti.
Nasa loob na Attorney Cynthia
Okay,
ng
Mrs.
Senate
Tuason
Session Hall si Ginang Ruby Tuason. Sa loob po ito ng Senate Session Hall. She is assisted by members of the NBI. Nasa ilalim nga po siya ng Conditional Witness Protection Program. At ngayong araw ay inaasahan nating maririnig ang kanyang testimonya sa kauna-unahang pagkakataon. Yung kanyang affidavit, Mark, ay kanyang ginawa sa Philippine Consulate sa San Francisco.
Ano ang bigat nito at bakit kailangan i-affirm yung kanyang affidavit dito sa Pilipinas? Nakita kasi ng ating mga kababayan yung nangyari sa DOJ na sumumpa pa siya. Pero ginawa na niya sa San Francisco yung kanyang affidavit. Pakipaliwanag, Attorney Cynthia, yung legalidad ng kanyang in-execute na salaysay.
Okay. Ginawa niya itong salaysay sa ibang bansa. Necessarily, ginawa niya ito para ma-affirm niya or para panumpaan niya sa consul natin sa LA, or sa Now, para magamit yun dito, it has to be validated here. That is why she reconfirmed the contents. She reaffirmed the contents of her affidavit here in the Philippines. Because this is where it's going to be used. Kaya nandito na yun. Kaya kinailangan niyang gawin yon at sa harapan ng ombudsman. Bakit? Because the complaint has already been filed sa ombudsman.
Itong mga lalabas ngayong araw na ito, mukhang nagsisimula na, Cathy.
Panoorin po natin ang makaganapan sa loob ng Senate Session Hall.
Settle down. Okay. Good morning, everyone. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge the senators that are present this morning. Our Senate President, Senator Frank Drilon. Good morning, sir. Senator Sonny Trillanes. Good morning, sir. Senator Paulo Benigno Pam Aquino. Good morning, sir. And we'd also like to acknowledge the resource persons who are here this morning. First of all, Laila De Lima. Good morning, ma'am. Miss Ruby Tuason. Good morning, ma'am. Mr. Ben Hurloy. Morning. Good morning, sir. Miss Marina Sula. Morning po. Merlina Sunya. Good morning, ma'am. And Gertrudis Loy. Good morning. Good morning po. Let me start with an opening statement. Mga kababayan, ladies and gentlemen, una sa lahat, maraming salamat sa pagpunta nyo dito at pagdalo sa hearing ng Blue Ribbon Committee. In particular, I would like to thank two persons. First, thank you, Secretary Laila De Lima, for lending your full support to the committee. Thank you for making the appearance of Ms. Ruby Tuason before this committee today. Second, thank you, Ms. Ruby Tuason, for volunteering to help the Department of Justice get to the bottom of these controversies surrounding the use or the alleged misuse and abuse of the money of the people. Ms. Tuason, mahalaga po ang pagdalo ninyo. Inaasahan namin na ibibigay din ninyo sa Senate Blue Ribbon Committee ang pangako na ibinigay ninyo sa DOJ. Natutulong kayo ng buong puso sa paghahanap ng katotohanan. Nang umpisahan ng Blue Ribbon Committee ang mga hearings kaugnay ng kontrobersiyang ito, 4 ang importanteng tanong ang inihanap natin ng sagot. Una, ano ba ang nangyari? Pangalawa, paano ito nangyari? Pangatlo, sino ang mga managot sa mga nangyari? Pang-apat, ano ang dapat gawin para hindi na maulit ang nangyari? What happened? How did it happen? Who should be held accountable for what happened? What must be done to make sure that what happened will never happen again? Hindi lamang po ito tanong ng Senate Blue Ribbon Committee. Ito ay tanong ng taong bayan. At dapat lang po, sila kasi ang tunay na may-ari ng pera sangkot sa usaping ito. Malaking halaga. Aasahan po namin ang inyong tulong. Ang sabi ni Secretary De Lima, ang inyo daw pong testimonya ay parang isang slam dunk. Sa tingin ko, hindi lamang ito isang slam dunk. Kung panindigan po ninyo ang mga bagay na sasabihin nyo, baka po isang 3-point shot. Isang 3-point shot na buzzer beater na, winning shot pa. Magtulungan po tayo. Umpisahan na natin ang pagdinig. Before we start, the Director General is hereby directed to administer the oath to those who have not yet taken their oath. Director General.
Ms. Tuason, pakitayo please. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this proceeding? Kindly nod your head. Thank you. Please be reminded, the others, we would like to remind that you are on the same oath that you took the first time you were here. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Tuason, good morning. Please speak into the mic. Ben, pakilapit lang yung mic. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes. Pakilapit pa, please. Okay.
To press something?
Yeah, you're okay.
Okay.
Would you like to make an opening statement?
Yes, if I could.
Please do so. You have the floor.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, honorable members of this committee, and the countrymen in attendance kind enough to listen to what I have to say. I am grateful for this opportunity to speak. My opening statement will be brief. I applied to become a state witness in full knowledge of the risks involved in doing so. I opened my life to the scrutiny of the public, entrusting the Philippine criminal justice system. I risked my personal safety without any promise of it. As you all well know, my admission to the country's witness protection program is merely provisional. My critics claim that I applied to be a witness of the state merely in escape of confinement. Though there is truth in my desire to not live what I have left of my life in jail, my actions has proven that I also will the best for this country. Having already left the country, and assuming my intentions were merely to escape time in prison, I could have easily done so by not returning home, like much of those that came before me. Despite the ease of that option, I returned to my country. I returned in hopes of absolution for my wrongs by exposing what I do know, people who root the corruption of this country. A senator says that my return is done in spite, a reaction to an alleged plea for cold cash. If I am the extortionist he claims me to be, why did I offer to return the assets acquired from arrangements of Mrs. Napoles? And while it is true that I returned the missed calls of the senator, the conversation I constructed willfully was my personal litmus test on his loyalties. Yes, I asked him kung ano maitutulog niya sa akin. An inquiry faced with rejection and proof of a spoiled friendship. After all, I was once willing to stand death row because of my trust in his family. Now I risk my life only for the Philippines. It would be difficult of me to say that I was not motivated by commissions from Mrs. Napoles. I was. The mistake was grave and selfish. The decision haunts me with regret. My conscience can no longer take it. Between my friendship with the respondents and exposing urgent truth, I choose to prioritize the latter. All the things that I know are present in my affidavit. It was my personal decision to reveal them. I added nothing, nor deleted anything from what I know are the facts. And so, for the sake of a better tomorrow, I'm ready for your questions, sir.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ruby Tuason. Ma'am, let's start with how you met Janet Lim Napoles. How did you meet? What were the circumstances? And how did the relationship start from knowing each other all the way to the proposal for a PDAF conspiracy?
I met Ms. Napoles around sometime, I believe in 2004. She was introduced to me by my late husband, Carlos Tuason. And Mr. Tuason called me up to tell me that she was bringing somebody who might be interested to buy my house, because I was selling my house at that time in Bel Air, Makati. So I said yes. So he arrived with Miss Napoles and another girl. And we talked. I showed her the house. And in that conversation, I asked her what her business was. She was a supplier of the government. She did government contracts. She also mentioned to me that for me to introduce her to my politician friends, like Senator Estrada, because I was the former social secretary of the father of Senator Estrada. She didn't buy my house though. She didn't end up buying my house. But after that, she had befriended me and invited me for lunch, invited me to her office to show me the things that she was supposed to be supplying. Did a lot of camarate, display.
With a lot of display.
With a lot of things there. And I asked her what are those things. So it's for fertilizer, it was for this. She had a lot of sprayers and things that she said she supplied with the DOTC. So I don't really understand much of those. I'm not a farmer. I didn't grow up in the province or anything like that. So I just looked at it and I said, okay. And she actually kept on telling me, pakilala mo ko. So I said, okay. So I told, can I call Senator Estrada Jinggoy? Since he calls me Tita Ruby, it's okay. So I asked Jinggoy, I told Jinggoy, this woman wants to meet you. Supplier daw siya, baka she can do your projects. Jinggoy refused. He didn't want. He didn't want to meet her personally. Okay, so, but still, I asked, will you give her na lang the contract through me? So I told, when I told Ms. Napoles, ayaw kanyang makilala. Sabi niya, hindi, sabihin mo, nagbibigay ako ng komisyon na 40%. Okay? So, I relayed that same message. Then, I was given a project at that time. Diba? I was given a project. But for reasons, I guess, only known to him, after he gave me that project, na-cancel niya, binawi. I had given...
Sino po nagbigay ng project?
Si Jinggoy.
Si Jinggoy, okay.
Then, nagbigay na ako ng parang down payment, something like that. Parang, what you call that? Parang earnest money. Hindi naman. Upon verbal agreement. Parang advance. Para makita talaga.
How much would that be? Yeah, yung project at saka yung commission, magkano yun?
Can I look at my...
Yes, please.
Okay. The project was 37.5.
37.5 million.
Yes. And
Yung commission po,
5.7.
5.7 million ang commission.
But for reasons only known to...
So you gave this 5.7
Yes.
commission? Yes?
Yes, but he returned it.
He returned it. What were the circumstances when you gave it? Where did you give it?
The time?
Where?
That was in his house.
Where's the house?
Green Hills.
Green Hills. What street?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I know to go there, but I don't know the name.
Yeah, I understand. And so he rejected.
No, he received it.
He received it.
Yeah.
Was
But
there
then-
anyone? Was there anyone with you when he received it?
No.
Kayong dalawa lang.
Yeah.
Okay. What year was this?
One year ago. 2006. 2004, 2005, something like that.
Okay.
Or 2000.
2004.
2005. 2004. September 2004.
September 2004. Okay, please continue. So you gave the 5.7, he refused. He received it. Okay, please continue.
Then after a while, he returned it.
After
After a while.
while, how much was that while?
How long?
How long?
Not very long. Siguro probably a week or two.
A week or two. Okay. Yeah, I can understand. You're using your what you remember, no?
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
Yes, 2004. Yes. Okay, so that was a week or two. So what happened? Why did he return it? Of course, you.
I asked him why, so he didn't say, so I didn't pursue the matter. I mean,
Can sandali, please. Could you please yung microphone? Could you please talk to the microphone kasi people cannot hear.
Okay.
Yeah. You asked him what's the matter.
I said, I asked him why, and he didn't give a real reason. Yun niya, wag na lang. Ganun lang.
Okay.
So I just took it at that.
Okay.
He returned it, and then I returned it to them.
Who is them?
I returned it to Janet Napoles and Ben-Hur. Because it was Ben-Hur who always...
Ben-Hur was present when you returned it. Ben-Hur, do you remember this? Ben-Hur, do you remember this?
Sir, may instance po kasi na sinoli ni Miss Ruby Tuason ng pera. So, hindi ko na po matandaan na. But, nag-return po siya at sinabi din po ni Miss Napoles na nag-solid na hindi natuloy po yung agreement
Okay.
nila.
Okay. We'd like to acknowledge the presence of Senator Angara. Good morning, sir. Please proceed, Miss Tuason.
Sabi pa sa akin ni Miss Napoles, sayang.
Sayang ang sabi ni Janet Lim Napoles.
She asked me why. Sabi ko, ewan ko. Sabi niya, wag na lang. Sabi niya, sayang. Okay. Then after that, I heard that it was Matranillo did it.
You heard that it was Matranillo that did it. And in your affidavit,
The project.
it says that it was... Go ahead.
Which was actually, when I saw the accounting record of Ben-Hur, I was able to confirm that it was really Mr. Ranillo.
And it says here in your affidavit that there was a delivery. Where?
Yeah, here, that's in the accounting records of Ben-Hur. It says there that there was a delivery 11.970 to a house in 1564 Mahogany Street.
What's the amount? 11,970,000 to 1564 Mahogany Street, Dasmariñas. Am I correct?
In these records, it says they're received by Pauline Labayen.
Do you confirm that, Mr. Ben-Hur Loy?
Yes, sir, kasi ako po yung naghatid po nung pera. Kasama ko po si yung driver po ni Miss Napoles, si Fernando Ramirez. Hinatid namin yan doon po. Kaya I have that exact address, the 1564 Mahogany Street. And nandun po si Miss Pauline Labayen.
At ikaw mismo ang nagbigay
Opo,
nung halagang 11.9
9
million.
Opo, 11.9. At nagbilang po kami kaharap po yung asawa po ni Mr. Matt Ranillo, si Miss Lynn Ranillo, Linda ang tawag namin po.
Ang kasama mo si Matronillo o yung misis?
No, ang kasama tapos pumunta po kami doon sa bahay. Tapos
Okay.
nandun po yung si Miss Pauline Labayen.
Okay.
At saka nagpakilala po siya sa akin na staff po siya ni Senator Estrada. And then po, nandun po si Miss Linda Ranillo. Asawa po siya ni Mr. Matt Ranillo po.
Pero si Matronillo nandun o wala?
Parang wala po doon po sa
Okay.
alalaw. Tapos mayroon po isang babae doon na medyo nalaman ko po nung kinuwento sa akin po ni Ma'am Lynn at saka ni Miss Pauline Labayen. It was Husta Tantoco daw.
Can you say the name again?
Husta Tantoco.
Husta Tantoco.
Opo.
Okay.
So hindi ko na po ininom kasi.
Okay. Miss Ruby Tuason, in your affidavit, you state that you know who the owner is at 1564 Mahogany. Press the. Okay.
Yes, when I was asked, being a resident in Dasmariñas Village, if I knew who lived there in that address, and I said yes, it was Husta. Because I know her, I've been to her house several times.
Who is Husta Tantoco?
We have the group what they call Mare.
What does MARE stand for? Okay, anyway, go ahead.
It's a group of women that with Dr. Aloy
Dr. Aloy.
Estrada. When we would go to medical missions, we would go out and I think she was also the chief of staff of Senator Loy.
She was the chief of staff of Senator Loy. Okay. We'll get back to that later. Si Matranillo and the Dasmariñas, no? Okay, so you cited one instance with Senator Jinggoy, but were there other instances?
Yes, a few, but he didn't give me any project for a few years. No? It only
who is she?
He. Jinggoy.
Okay, Jinggoy.
That was
Okay.
around 2004 na hindi natuloy.
Okay.
So, when I transacted with him, it was already for a project of 2007, December 2007.
December 2007,
yeah.
okay.
Ay, December 3 pala. December 3. It's here. Wherein the amount was TLRC 25 million.
Itong nasa affidavit mo sa page 8,
This one.
yung table. Yeah, that's it. Okay. This is March 6, September 17, October 16, October 28. The amounts are 5 million, 2 million, 1 million, 1 million, a total of 9 million.
Yes.
Okay. Proceed, please.
So
Yes, what are these amounts? These are the commission?
No. The commission that